On the phone now, Major General Scott Spellmon with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. He's the Deputy Commanding General for Civil and Emergency Operations. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're just outside of Charleston, South Carolina right now. I know you've had a chance to assess the damage in North and South Carolina. Tell us what strikes you the most.
Rena, I've been traveling for the last few days. I think what I would tell you up front is this turned out to be much more of a rain and water event than a wind event than we expected. So the last 24, 48 hours, you've seen a lot of coastal flooding from very high storm surge out on the coastal communities. I will tell you tonight and tomorrow and the next several days, we'll be working with both North Carolina, South Carolina, and local communities to deal with riverine flooding that as a result of the rainfall. We expect a number of rivers in both of these states that will crest in the next 3 to 5 days. We've got teams out tonight through the evening that will be working with local communities to help them prepare for this event.
What specifically will the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers do to help with these cresting rivers?
Right. So we have teams out tonight, for example, that will help with what HESCO barriers. So these are essentially containers that we can place rapidly on riverbanks. We fill them with sand, and it serves as a temporary levee. We have inflatables, essentially long tubes that we can inflate, anchor down, that essentially serve the same purpose. We certainly have sandbag filling machines that we can get out into communities to allow them to fill sandbags in a very rapid fashion, and again, to help them protect homes and other infrastructure. Rena, I think you're aware we do all of this in support of FEMA, and we're just part of the Department of Defense and the broader Army effort out here in the region.
Major General, we are actually looking right now at Jacksonville, North Carolina rescue efforts by the Coast Guard right now. You talked a little bit about fortifying areas when dealing with cresting rivers. Any advice for regular citizens who want to help out their community in these really difficult times?
Yeah, I think the best advice that I can give folks is to follow the instructions of the local authorities. And that is, if you're asked to evacuate and get out of areas that are going to be impacted by the storm, that you just follow the advice of the local authorities. It just prevents having to have first responders put themselves in danger to go out and rescue folks. That would be the best advice that I could give everyone. And then give the authorities the time to get back in and make sure that these communities are safe before they return to their homes.
When the Army Corps of Engineers is trying to help fortify an area, during and before and after a storm, what do you find are sort of the critical things you've got to understand and assess and learn when getting in to really help with the aftermath?
Yeah, right. So we have a lot of technical capabilities. So, for example, today we have a number of what we call dam safety teams, and we make these available to the states and the local communities for dams that are either owned or operated by the states, and we can get them out on those structures to provide technical advice if and where it is needed. We have teams that go out and can help install temporary roofs on facilities that may have lost the roof as a result of the wind. We also have teams that go out and provide temporary power generation. In fact, we have some teams this evening out doing just that, where you have an emergency shelter where a number of families may have displaced to, and they lost power. So we'll go out and get some generators on the ground and power those facilities back up. We can do the same we have generators that can power up hospitals, 911 centers, communication facilities. So that is the general nature of the work that we do in support of the states and in support of FEMA in the early days of a disaster such as this one.
We know both governors of North Carolina and South Carolina have warned people we need you to be patient in the coming days. When folks end up going back home, once they get the all clear, what do they need to keep in mind?
Yeah, I think it's all about safety. Certainly the local authorities won't let folks come back until it's absolutely safe, until trees have been cleared and roads are safe to travel on. Certainly we're past any high water event and the rivers have gotten back within their banks. We want to make sure that these communities are absolutely safe. And we would just ask people to take all precautions and to move deliberately and safely as possible when they are allowed to get back into their neighborhoods and into their homes. Be safe.
Major General Scott Spellmon with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Rena.